This is the coming revolution in higher consciousness. Listen now to Elizabeth Clare Prophet, educator, author, and authority on the most exciting story of our time, the coming revolution in higher consciousness.
Now I would like to read to you from the scriptures if you would like to be seated. It is the final vision to Daniel that is given, the vision of the coming of Archangel Michael in the last days, when the period of great tribulation comes upon the earth. Now I understand these last days to be the conclusion of the Piscean age. It is the conclusion of a karmic cycle, a conclusion of opportunity. Each 2,000 years, our souls have an opportunity to increase in light and grow in grace and in stature, as God has sent the avatar, which means the one who is the incarnation of God. Each 2,000 years, we find that somewhere on earth there is that person, Jesus Christ, in the Piscean age. Prior to that, we have in the East great lights that go into antiquity and precede even the dawn of recorded history. Yet our souls contain the memory, for we were there in continuous evolution, whether in embodiment or in the etheric octaves. So we've all been a part of this planet for many centuries, and we understand that we can rise no higher than the highest of the incarnation of God upon earth, and go no lower than the lowest of the low. So the spectrum upon earth has always been presented to us as Satan and Christ, or the false hierarchy of fallen angels who rebelled against God eons ago, and the sons of God who have remained with us with the archangels and the Elohim. So we see that what man has done, man can do. And therefore, whatever is the law of the one for one individual, we may also attain. But we cannot go beyond the dispensation of a particular cycle. So in these 2,000 years, we are intended to put on the fullness of our Christhood as Jesus did. One of the reasons that I accepted the calling of the Great White Brotherhood to be their messenger was specifically for that purpose, to let people know what were the true teachings of Jesus Christ, and that we have been defrauded of those teachings by those who have accepted a limited theology and a very binding doctrine. Orthodoxy is a very physical religion, and yet we are not physical beings except in the outer sense. We are spiritual beings. We are immortal here and now. We move through the earth as spirit sparks. We did not begin when these bodies began. We will not end when they terminate. We know these things, yet they are not so often taught to us from the pulpits. We have lost the message of reincarnation and karma, which Jesus and the apostles taught, and the real meaning of Jesus' experience when he went to the Far East to receive the mantle of the avatars who had gone before him. He is presented to us as a God, someone we cannot be like, instead of our elder brother who is demonstrating the scientific principles of cosmic law for us to follow. So this is the real reason for my coming and your being here. It is to regain the lost word which we were initiated with at the beginning of the Piscean age. We've all had numerous embodiments in the last 2,000 years, and the purpose of these lifetimes has been to put on more and more of his raiment. As we know, he said that if we believe in the Christ in him, he that believeth on me, the works that I do, shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father. This belief in Jesus is the belief in the only begotten Son, that universal Christ, that it is his true self and our true self, because it is the light which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. And therefore believing in Jesus is believing in the God potential of every son and daughter of God. As John said, now are we the sons of God. He knew well that we are all sons and daughters of God, but we must realize that potential. It is not automatic. It does not come simply by a statement of faith, but it comes through the exercise of this divine quality, free will. Free will is an element that must be completely understood in our walk homeward. If we ignore free will and that which is a corollary to it, responsibility for actions based on free will, we miss the whole point of salvation, which really means self-elevation through Christ, following the great exemplar. So today we have some catching up to do. We're catching up on what we should have realized. The ability to manifest that light. Christ means the one anointed by the light of God, the one who is descending from the I Am Presence, and that is you, and that is me, and that is all of us. We all have equal opportunity to realize the God potential, and there is no rivalry with Jesus Christ or no put down of the eternal Savior whom we love and adore. And yet, through him we worship God. He does not desire our worship, but the emulation of his word and his works. When we worship, we tend to allow him to do it all for us, and in the meantime, for a want of Christed ones, the world is crumbling beneath our feet, and we are on stage. This is our hour, and we must perform his works because he is with us with the I Am Presence. So Saint Germain, that seventh angel, has come to us in the final hour of the age of Pisces with a violet flame, so that we could transmute the karma of these 2,000 years and bring ourselves into alignment with our Holy Christ self. There is a tremendous grace and mercy and understanding of the great law of the plight of our ignorance. So God has called us now to intensify this beautiful light of the Holy Spirit, this violet flame, so that we might internalize the word and become who we are, so that we can be effective in what area of calling we are in, our fields chosen, our professions, our families, our households. Whatever we are doing, we must do it through the divinity that is our potential. Our divinity must grace our humanity, and we must find in ourselves the two in one. Jesus, the Son of Man, you, Mary, John, Bill, the Son of Man, Christ in us, the Son of God. Only one Christ, one begotten light, one universal one, but he broke the whole loaf. This is my body which was broken for you. The communion of the bread shows that there is one universal consciousness, one universal loaf, and yet we are all partakers. And therefore you can see the identity of your beautiful, wondrous, holy Christ self and know that it is personal and individual to you, and yet it is the same one universal Christ who was and is in Jesus. This is how we understand that Christ can dwell in us. Even the very presence of Jesus can ignite our souls. And so, with this as a backdrop of our history of 2,000 years, and you know well the history of the Old Testament and of our soul's evolution and the evolution out of the East, we are in the present moment. This is the nexus where time and space meet. Now what can I do, O God? What can I do in the face of oncoming nuclear war and manipulations of the economy? So many things that we face are out of our personal control. We can demonstrate in the streets, but there are powers that be that determine our future and our fate. Whether the pricing of oil or food or whatever it may be, we are somehow the victims of an unknown and an unseen force that is determined to keep from us the fullness of our great God mastery. And here Daniel gives us the key, the wondrous key of the assistance, the intercession of these mighty archangels who have defended our souls from the beginning. And so it says, and at that time, which is this time, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. The time of trouble is noted in Revelation as the descent of the last plagues, the coming of the 4 horsemen, the beast that comes out of the bottomless pit, and all of these conditions where we find in the world consciousness many forces tearing down our youth, their bodies through drugs, through genetic manipulation, fetal experimentation, the destruction of life through wanton abortion. So many forces, so many choices that an individual can make in his youth, in self-destructivity, without even having come to the knowledge of the Lord, because he has not been taught the real fundamentals of his own God dominion from childhood. So these are the troubles we face, the manipulation of the sacred fire at the very heart of the atom. I believe that energy is God and that matter is the repository of spirit, and the tremendous power that is wielded is actually God's energy misused. And therefore a very grave karma comes upon the earth, using God's energy for the destruction of people and life and the ecosystem. And so we see these challenges everywhere. Challenges that are not private and personal, that are not affairs of the inner initiation of the heart and the soul, but challenges that face us in the continuation of our civilization. And so we find that a deliverer is announced, Archangel Michael, the great prince that stands for the people of God. You may wonder what it means, everyone that shall be found written in the book. It is speaking of the book of life. It is speaking of the people of whom Jesus spoke when he said, "No man can ascend to God except he descend from the Father." He was speaking to the Pharisees, to the Sadducees, and he was making a distinction in the evolutions and life waves of the earth. This earth is host to interplanetary beings, all kinds of levels of consciousness and creations created by Atlantean scientists. We have the most diversified evolutions upon this planet of many planets in the far-flung solar systems. This book is written for a peculiar people, the people who have the seed of the I am that I am, who know they have a God consciousness, who know they have the origin in the central sun. Now you may wonder why all people do not believe that, why many people attack this idea. It is because many of people do not have this particular cosmic history. And so this particular light and assistance is to those who understand and immediately come to that point of realization of the I am presence. As we know, there are all kinds of churches and religions on earth. I think we all realize that these religions are not for everyone. I certainly know that my church is not the only answer, the only way, nor is it for all people. But I know it is for the people who are of the seed of Christ, who recognize that seed, and because they know they have that Christ consciousness, recognize that they must become shepherds of the people, that they have an extraordinary responsibility to hold the light and the balance in the midst of the warfare of Armageddon and of light and darkness on this planet. And so comes the prophecy of this dilemma of two sorts of people that we find. If there were not two sorts of people, those who have chosen the right hand and the left-handed path, we would have no explanation for the consequences of free will. When God gave us free will, he gave us the freedom to rebel against him, to disagree with him, and to take our own course. Though it may be treacherous and self-destructive, many have taken that course. Many are coming into the awareness by being exhausted with human efforts that it is time to call upon the will of God. And so God says to Daniel, "And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake." And this is the sign of this age. There is a quickening and an awakening. Many are being awakened. And God says, some are awakened to everlasting life. The moment they come into the quickening, they understand that divine identity, and they accelerate and they accomplish their spiritual evolution of 10,000 years in 5 years or 10 years. That is how quickly the light works in answer to your call and the dynamic decree. Some awaken to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. And this we must realize. There are those who, when they are quickened and awakened to the presence of God, have nothing but contempt for that God, for his truth, for his emissaries, for his little ones. Can you not say that the child molester has contempt for the Almighty? Is there not contempt in the actions? Does it not express a hatred of the mother and of her offspring? We can understand that there are those upon earth who by their actions show that they at this moment have contempt for the Almighty, and in that contempt get even with his little ones. They get even with God by attacking his little ones or the holy innocents. And therefore, whether it is subconscious through the pollution of the very water that we drink, the pollution of the air, whether it is the selling of drugs causing children who are newly born to be heroin addicts, or whether it is a conscious conspiracy, it does not matter which. There is a vibration of contempt somewhere in the collective unconscious of this race, and it comes into manifestation through particular and peculiar types. I mention this because it is a part of prophecy, and we have to realize that in addition to this, each one of us has the untransmuted self, which the apostles call the carnal mind, that is enmity with God, the portion of ourselves that we have created in a long evolution. And we look at it and we say, I don't like this part of me, I don't like this habit, I don't like this capacity that I have to be jealous or angry or irritated or to be dishonest. And that is not the real me, and I want to be rid of it. How do I do it? So we go to our psychiatrists, but really the answer is to cast it into the violet flame and call for its transmutation and make the effort of free will and to say, I will no longer manifest this unreal self, I will manifest my true self, who is Christ the Lord. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. The wise are those who raise the sacred fire along the spine through the 7 chakras, from the base chakra to the crown. The crown chakra is the crown of wisdom. It is of wise dominion of one's energy, light, consciousness, all of one's forces in submission to that sacred heart of Christ. Therefore, I call to your attention that wondrous being of light, Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael is the defender of the faith, the Holy Church, the mystical body of light, the seed of Christ, those who do come from the I am that I am, the protection of civilization, the protection of our children. In recent years, the Catholic Church has dispensed with the prayers to Archangel Michael, which have been given for hundreds of years. They are powerful prayers. And at the same period of time, we have lost prayer in our schools. We cannot function without Archangel Michael when the forces of death and hell are abroad in the world. If you want to draw down the light, intensify, attain a certain mastery and even adeptship, carry the light for the planet, you have to realize that these forces of darkness want that light because they were cut off from God's light when they abandoned him and gave their vow of enmity against his seed. And so these fallen ones were cut off from heaven, cut off from God's light, and so they have to take that light from us by all kinds of means, through the contact of the eye, through our attention, through our idolatry of the stars in the media, through the rock beat, the syncopated 4/4 time, which draws the energy down the spine. And that beat and that momentum will tear from you the light of your chakras. If you want to be a real disciple of Jesus or a Chela of the masters of the Far East, you need to cut that out of your life. It is sapping you of your vital energies. And even though it may be enjoyable, there are many things enjoyable which are killing this generation, starting with sugar, starting with that which is the cigarettes and the alcohol and the marijuana, temporarily titillating the senses, but actually robbing you of the light that you need to weave the wedding garment, to weave the deathless solar body, the means whereby you abide forever in the etheric octave. Archangel Michael is the key, together with a violet flame and your tube of light. You need protection if you're going to carry more light. God will not give you more light than you can safely guard. If you cannot be trusted with light because you leave yourself vulnerable to lower forces, then God will not increase your light. And you can do all of the yogic exercises and health diets and everything you can think of, but unless you determine to put on that tube of light and call to Archangel Michael, God knows that the light that he gives you will only cause you more trouble, and so you remain in that zone where you don't want to be, where you don't have the light that makes you a victim, and yet you are subject to the darkness and can't get out of it. But the important thing of this meeting and this communication is that you establish that oneness with your I am presence and Christ self, and do not let go of it, do not lose it, that you trust in God and call upon that Archangel Michael. Do not fail to call for your loved ones, and know that when you call in the name of the Lord, by cosmic law, the Lord does and will answer. Archangel Michael is obedient to that Lord and will come and stand at your side. And the more you refine and purify your world with a violet flame, the more you serve God, the more instantaneous and powerful will be the answer to your call. That is the simple message of the Ascended Master's teachings. I'd like to give with you a call to Archangel Michael. This is the angel that spoke to Moses. This is the angel that spoke to Joshua. Put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is holy ground. When you know your I Am presence and your Christ self, and you realize you are standing in the presence of God and his mighty archangel, you know the ground where you walk is holy. And this is truth. You are the sons and daughters of God, and because God is with you, the ground is holy. And know that you are not reduced to animals. You are not descended from monkeys. Your souls and your spirits came forth from Elohim, and you are sent by God to take dominion over the earth, and instead we have allowed the fallen angels to take dominion over us in our religion, in our culture, in our civilization, in our economy, and in endless wars. This is our day. This is our revolution in higher consciousness. It begins with you wherever you are. You can change the world where you live. Now let us stand in honor of this God. Please visualize Archangel Michael before you, behind you, to the right, to the left, above and below, in the center of your form. Together. In the name of the beloved, mighty, victorious presence of God, I am in me, my very own beloved holy Christ self, holy Christ selves of all mankind, beloved Archangel Michael, beloved Lanello, the entire spirit of the great white brotherhood and the world mother, elemental light, fire, air, water, and earth, I decree, Lord Michael before, Lord Michael behind, Lord Michael to the right, Lord Michael to the left, Lord Michael above, Lord Michael below, Lord Michael, wherever I go. I am his love protecting here. I am his love protecting here. I am his love protecting here. Lord Michael before, Lord Michael behind, Lord Michael to the right, Lord Michael to the left, Lord Michael above, Lord Michael below, Lord Michael, wherever I go. I am his love protecting here. I am his love protecting here. I am his love protecting here. Lord Michael before, Lord Michael behind, Lord Michael to the right, Lord Michael to the left, Lord Michael above, Lord Michael below, Lord Michael, wherever I go. I am his love protecting here. I am his love protecting here. I am his love protecting here. Now, when you make the call to Archangel Michael, you give him permission and the authority to act in your life. When we demanded free will, we were given the time and space and the earth to see the fruits of our free will. No one would intercede unless we would call. Archangel Michael must have your call in order to enter your life and give you the assistance you need. You can give this call for your children, your relatives, your friends, for the whole city. You can give it for your car when you park it. You say, beloved Archangel Michael, seal this car and protect it, and see that it does not suffer theft or damage. You can give it for all of your possessions. You can give it for the whole world. Archangel Michael is as big as the earth and as tiny as a cell. You can call to Archangel Michael to enter your body and bind the virus that is causing the cancer of that terminal disease. And you can visualize his legions of blue lightning entering your body, entering your cells, and with their swords of blue flame, binding that cancer, binding that flu, binding that problem. Now that's all you need. Your faith that Archangel Michael will be with you and stay with you and protect you throughout the day. And this decree is your giving to Archangel Michael the energy. The repetition of the prayer is the use of your throat chakra, which is your power center, the power of speech, the power to create. Using that power center, you establish a link and a tie with your energy. The mantra is a means of giving devotion to the master or the angel. That love devotion opens the door of your world for the masters to act. Now this Heart, Head, and Hand booklet, do you all have that one? This gives you the tube of light, the very first and foremost protection of the day. If you don't do anything else in the morning, put on your tube of light. You wouldn't go out without your clothes on. Don't go out without your tube of light. It's the real garment of God, and it will protect you from every vibration and level of consciousness. Tube of light, it's on page 3. When you get the book, please turn to it and join in. Page 3, tube of light. Look at your beloved mighty I Am presence before you and call with your complete adoration to that presence. together. Beloved, I am presence bright, round me seal your tube of light. From ascended master flame, call forth now in God's own name. Let it keep my temple free from all discord sent to me. I am calling forth violet fire to blaze and transmute all desire, keeping on in freedom's name till I am one with a violet flame. Beloved, I am presence bright, round me seal your tube of light. From ascended master flame, call forth now in God's own name. Let it keep my temple free from all discord sent to me. I am calling forth violet fire to blaze and transmute all desire, keeping on in freedom's name till I am one with a violet flame. Beloved, I am presence bright, round me seal your tube of light. From ascended master flame, call forth now in God's own name. Let it keep my temple free from all discord sent to me. I am calling forth violet fire to blaze and transmute all desire, keeping on in freedom's name till I am one with a violet flame. Now this is the picture of your tube of light. Here you are standing. The tube of light is around you. It comes forth from the heart of God, the individual presence with you. In the very midst of that interaction with God is your holy Christ self, with whom you are becoming one. You have invoked the violet flame around yourself so that inside this tube of light, as you may have fears or doubts or unkind thoughts or feelings or make mistakes and so forth, that violet flame is called forth to perpetually blaze forth during the day and consume the unwanted human creation that we would rather have not been involved in. So this tube of light is the garment of God. Then you give your protection we already gave to Archangel Michael, Lord Michael before. You visualize then outside the tube of light the blue lightning of Archangel Michael, which is the will of God. It's an additional reinforcement, and you see him as the angel of the Lord before you. You walk with God. You walk with God's emissaries, and you no longer fear, for you know greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world.
You've been watching The Coming Revolution in Higher Consciousness with Elizabeth Clare Prophet. The preceding public access program has been presented through the assistance of Church Universal and Triumphant, Box A, Malibu, California, 90265. If you would like to know more, call this number or write this address.